We hear the word reconciliation all the time, right? But what does it actually mean to heal a relationship that's really, truly broken, right? It's that feeling, that awful, painful gridlock where everyone means well, everyone thinks they're making perfect sense, but the conversation just slams into a brick wall. And you walk away feeling totally misunderstood and honestly even more disconnected than before. And it's so much more than just saying I'm sorry. Today, we're going to dive deep into the anatomy of real reconciliation, and we'll use a powerful story.
What would you say if I said I wanna march to my own drum now? Wanna be free, wanna be free, so free. I am free from the ivory prison. I am free to follow my passion. I am free. 4 years is a long time. I am free.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our main character is Dee. She's a young poet from the rock musical Void, and all she wants is to live her life as an artist. Simple enough, right? Well, not exactly. Family is staring down the barrel of financial ruin, and they've got a much more, let's say, practical plan for her. Now, here's something that's really important to get. Nobody here is the bad guy. This isn't a story about malice or cruelty. It's a classic case of good intentions just going horribly wrong, all because a couple of really key ingredients were missing from the conversation. The first thing that was missing, respect. And I don't just mean being polite. I mean truly acknowledging that the other person's reality is valid for them, even if you totally disagree with it.
Present value interest factor of an annuity. Poetry, 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 and more poetry. A poet in the financial world. She doesn't know of finance. Instead, she thrives on romance. You tell her about mortgage bonds. She tells you of marital bonds. She doesn't know of finance. Instead, she thrives on romance. You tell her about mortgage bonds. She tells you of marital bonds. Here comes the blight. Oh, what a sight. But surely she's heard of banks.
Just saw her dream as a childish fantasy, and she saw their help as a complete betrayal. Nobody was validating the other side's feelings. And that leads to the second missing piece, empathy. See, if respect is acknowledging what someone thinks, empathy is trying to feel what they feel. Actually trying to imagine the soul-crushing horror of that finance job for Dee. It's Dee trying to feel the genuine terror felt about losing everything. Without that, they're just talking past each other. So you've got this huge, gaping chasm between them, just filled with hurt and misunderstanding. It feels totally impossible to cross. How on earth do you even start to fix something that's this broken? Well, the answer probably isn't what you're thinking. It doesn't start with a big, dramatic conversation. It doesn't start with an apology. It starts inside. Real, lasting reconciliation begins with one person achieving an internal victory, a fundamental shift in their own strength. And in our story, that journey begins with Dee. And this is where everything starts to shift. We're in phase 2, the breakthrough. And it all comes down to Dee's internal battle.
Please come, we are your free tormentors, you see. Doubt, dread, despair. We will ensnare you, for you dare. Follow your heart, yes, we will ensnare you, for you care to follow your heart. get what you want? What if you never get what you need? What if you forever regret the deed you did? What if you can't follow your passion? What if you hate this path you wanna be on? What if you never get out of this void you're in? What if you never win? What have you done? What is your plan? What if being you is taking the easy way out? What if not being true to yourself is what life is about? What if you're really being selfish, ungrateful and stupid? What if your life is really meant to be a sentiment? What if the true purpose of your life is finance? What if
She has to first face down the doubts and the despair raging inside her own mind. And this is not just about thinking positive thoughts. We're talking about an all-out war inside her head. She confronts her deepest despair, she digs down and finds her conviction, and she comes out the other side victorious. And this is so crucial. The power she finds isn't about being defiant. It's a quiet, unshakable belief in herself. And with that new internal strength, look at how she communicates. It completely transforms. She can finally speak her truth without it being an accusation. It's no longer, how could you do this to me? It's, I know you're trying to help, but this is who I am.
we feel your true colors? I had to make a stand. No need to be afraid. I hope in time you will understand. This is not about you. Stop acting so betrayed. It was just something I had to do. Why are you mad at me? Why can't you let me be the person I know I must become?
That shift is an absolute game changer. Because she's coming from this solid place inside herself, she can finally do one of the hardest things in any relationship. She can set a boundary. She can say no. Not like a rebellious kid, but like an adult stating a fact about her own life. And that word, no, doesn't push. It actually creates the safe space they all need to start rebuilding. So that internal breakthrough paves the way for the final phase, the rebuilding. And let's be clear, this is not about going back to how things used to be. It's about building something brand new and much, much stronger. The whole dynamic just gets flipped on its head. They go from this top-down, parent-child kind of relationship based on control, A, pulling the strings, and D, just reacting, to a relationship between peers, between adults, one that's built not on expectation but on acceptance. So how do they actually build this new bridge? Well, it rests on three main pillars. First, a new way of communicating, mature dialogue instead of arguments. Second, mutual acknowledgement, where everyone owns their part in the mess. And third, they start to rebuild trust. But this time, it's a new, tougher kind of trust, forged in the fire of this conflict. I mean, just listen to that. How powerful is that? Imagine hearing those words. They are showing incredible integrity here. They're admitting their fear blinded them. They're not just saying sorry, they're taking ownership. This is the moment the real healing can finally start. So the last piece of the puzzle is making sure this disaster never happens again. They don't just cross their fingers and hope for the best. They actually create a new set of rules, a kind of family constitution to guide them moving forward. And here they are, the three non-negotiables. Number one, Dee's autonomy is absolute. It's her life, her choice, period. Number two, mutual respect for their different values is mandatory. No more judgment. And number three, communication has to stay open, honest, and supportive. These aren't just suggestions. They are the new, unbreakable laws of their family. And that's really the core lesson here, isn't it? True reconciliation is not about hitting a reset button and pretending nothing happened. You can't go back to the way things were, because the way things were is what broke. It's about building a totally new foundation, one that's strong enough not just to tolerate everyone's dreams, but to actually celebrate them. And that really brings us to a final thought for you. Seeing this whole journey from a complete breakdown to this incredible breakthrough, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What old, unspoken rules in your own life might be waiting to be rewritten? What new foundations are you ready to build?